Approve the consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to resolutions, we have a request to approve resolution declaring city property as surplus. Tabitha?
Afternoon, Tabitha Miller with Fleet, requesting to have 3 vehicles declared surplus.
Okay. Any questions for Tabitha?
No.
Nope.
Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. And then Tabitha, you're up here for a request to approve purchase of 2 3500 HD crew cabs.
Correct, for the Department of Public Works.
Any questions on those purchases?
No.
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you, Tabitha.
Thank you.
Next is a resolution awarding a build, operate, transfer agreement for the Nickel Plate Trail and Tunnel Project, a public hearing first and foremost. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing and entertain any comments from the public at this time. Please note that there were no public comments, and we will now close the public comment period, and we will entertain the resolution. And we have Jason Taylor here to talk to us about it.
Thank you, Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. Before you is the Build, Operate, Transfer Agreement for the Nickel Plate Trail Tunnel. This is specifically for the Phase 1A, which would be from South Street north to just north of 116th Street. This will give Meyer-Najum the ability to move forward with awarding the contracts that are currently out to bid to date. If you recall, on the 29th, the board approved Meyer-Najum for a scoping agreement and authorized them to bid out Phase 1A. This will then eliminate that agreement and allow them to not just have it out to bid, but also award the bids themselves as contracts are coming in, which will be later this month.
Any questions for Jason? Seeing none, is there a
No.
motion to approve the resolution?
So moved by Jason.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jason. Next, we have a resolution approving revised scope of work for the Browning Day Professional Services Agreement. Sarah Sandquist.
Hi, Sarah Sandquist, Director of Parks and Recreation. Before you have an amendment to the Browning Day agreement for the Geist Waterfront Park. We need to do an updated topographic survey, and this would allow Browning to contract to complete that work.
And I forget what's the total dollar amount on this?
Up to 50,000.
50 or 15?
50.
50. And Chris, did you have a conversation with Jennifer on this?
Yeah, so we had a topographical survey that was performed a few years ago, and right now we're trying to figure out the scope of what the update needs to be. So this agreement before you, or the resolution before you, allows the additional scope of work to encompass this up to $50,000. Right now, we've been told that the estimate is about $20,000, but we're pushing back on that as well. So this will allow that authority for Browning Day to go do some of these things within the contract over the next few months while we're waiting on some of these things to come back.
Yeah, we don't anticipate a completely new survey to be done, but an update to the existing one, especially in the areas where the dredging has occurred. And as Chris mentioned, probably closer to around 20,000, but this will,
So this is a not to exceed
Yeah,
contract?
not to exceed. Mhm.
Any additional questions for Sarah?
Not by me.
Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second by Jason.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you, Sarah. Finally, we have a resolution amending underground utility waiver. Jason?
Thank you. Jason Taylor, Director of Engineering. Before you is the existing utility waiver process that we had adopted. This is actually an updated version. Earlier in the year, the board had requested the engineering department to work with the public relations group and identify a way to improve our outreach and communication with the HOAs and coordination between the utilities, the city, and those residents in an effort to reduce the amount of feedback that we would get at the board meetings, but also ensuring that the residents were able to provide that necessary feedback and were included in the location discussions. So I'm gonna try to put something up on the, there we go.
I think we all have a copy of this. Is this
Well, unfortunately,
Okay.
they were not able, we didn't have it uploaded
I
and
see,
sent,
okay.
but I can send it later for Jason and Jeff to review.
I think you just got it on there. There you go.
So as part of the communication plan, we also are updating the packet process of what we will come to the board when we present this. And this is the first step, one of the major summaries per se, which mimics the process that we do in Plan Commission as well as our Plat Committee. So it's a standard process that we have across the city, but it is two-sided. And you can see that what we'll do is that we will have them name the subdivision. It'll be the petitioner and a date in which we have that meeting. And then there'll be specific information in there as well as a map. Then what we will end up doing is identifying the different items that have been submitted as part of the permit. And then we give a little bit of a history, an overview of the petition. And then the big component is the communication with the residents and the HOAs. And whenever I say we're communicating with the HOA, what I'm referring to is we are communicating with their HOA president, vice president, designee as part of this process, rather than with each individual resident. And we will put in the staff report, when we come to the board, we will include those meeting minutes here so that it's all in one central location. Then we will also have our staff comments included and then present that, upload it as a packet. But specifically to this resolution, we have included communication on how we will handle that within the community. And if you refer to Section 4, where it says city review, and then there's bullet points II, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That is where we have updated that per our waiver process, which we start at least a month prior to actually receiving those permits and getting those permits approved or to the board for approval.
Any questions for Jason?
Yeah, hi, Jason. Jason Meyer here. So it seems a lot of this communication is being directed to the HOA.
Correct.
What is the HOA's responsibility if they're lame duck or they'll distribute it to the neighborhood? Do we have any authority to pressure and push that, drive them to distribute, or what's the expectation with that?
So we're doing two aspects. We're not just doing coordination with the HOA, but we are also sending out the letters of up 200 foot adjacent to the cell structures. So there's two-pronged approach. And what we are doing, though, is in those letters to the direct coordination with the property owners, we're telling them that they need to get with their HOA. And we have already had some of those meetings, and they went well. We've had 5 different subdivisions that we've had meetings with, and we were provided specific feedback. Those HOAs went out on site with those residents and received their feedback, in which they were provided to us, and we've then had Verizon address it. And Verizon, on this particular situation, was on the call, but this would be for any carrier.
So within those 5 instances, were they remedied to the satisfaction of the neighborhood or the HOA or the individuals, or do you have any feedback, or we'll wait till we get those permit applications, if you will?
Yeah, on 5 of them, we had positive feedback, and all of them have been addressed. And there was one that has not been a permit officially submitted, but it was one that was identified from the utility that it would be one up and coming. And they responded that they did not want any of them inside their neighborhood. So we have,
Gotcha. Okay.
that's a different animal that we have reached back out to their HOA to explain that this is their chance to communicate, but if they do not want to do so, then we'll need to be moving forward with.
And I think the idea here too with this form is that we'll have one standardized document that will encapsulate all of these interactions. So going forward, when they come before council, the 3 of us will easily be able to digest, okay, they had the meeting, it was a productive meeting, or they had the meeting and one of the players involved said, we're not going to compromise, we're not interested, what have you. We'll have all that before they come before us, whereas before it was kind of, trying to figure all that out. So I think this form is indicative of our efforts to try to really streamline this process and make sure we understand all the interactions that have happened prior to. So I think that's a good step forward.
Great.
And there were 2 other major things in this that we addressed that were some concerns. We're adding a sworn statement by the carrier to be part of a checklist that they sign off on, which was one of the concerns from a resident, as well as whether it's signed and sealed by an engineer. We do have in there that there's requirements related to not just that, but other standards.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? So,
No, good work.
so I understand from a legal perspective, we're adopting the form or the process in this
No,
discussion?
so you're amending the previous waiver procedure, which this board adopted back in 2017. So with that amendment comes the amended procedure, and then Jason's document is more of an administrative document that you'll see quite a bit, but is a byproduct of
see.
the amendment that you're approving today.
Fair enough. Any additional questions?
No.
Not by me.
Okay, if there's no other questions, is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second by Jason.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Are there any other unfinished or new business items, Chris?
No, just Jeff and Jason, thanks for jumping on. For the record, would you mind authorizing Lindsay to send out for e-signatures after the
Do you
meeting?
need a motion on that, Chris, or just a verbal
Just a
consent?
verbal would be fine.
So,
Please. Jason Meyer speaking, yes.
Jeff Lance, yes, please.
okay,
Thank you.
excellent, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Jason.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.